Alpha X versus Team Liquid. Game 5.
Why is Berlingrad bad? First of all, just short, right? Size of the map obviously has an impact. A couple of ledges for some decent tank positions as well to take advantage of. And I think, most importantly, one of the big things is I think you can really do a lot with drops on this map. With the size and the layout of the bases, you can kind of go a little bit drop crazy and just keep the pressure up very easily. So basically, a lot of what Clem's already been doing is likely to be very good here on Berlingrad. Bottom right-hand side from Alpha X, the Blue Protoss player is classic. He needs one map to send his team to the top 4 of the World Team League Winter. The left-hand side, our Red Terran player from Team Liquid. Can he keep his team alive with a 2-0? He would force a revive player from Alpha X. It's Clem in the upper left as the Red Terran. One thing we've not seen so far is some Phoenix play, right? We saw the attempt of Glaives in the first game, and then more straight up in the second game. I would like to have an attempt at Phoenix. Because the thing is as well is that, you know, the way Clem likes to play lately seems to be all of this aggression, etc. Now, the problem with doing Phoenix on this shorter map is obviously, you know, you're going to get hit earlier in the game. You have less time to set the Phoenix up and to make something happen with those. So it's going to be harder to create a defense when the Stargate's already one of the harder kind of defenses to get, to set up with, or set up by. So maybe you don't go for it here, but I do feel like the Phoenix might be the way to sort of stop Clem from doing all of this aggression, from committing into all of these positions, and just continue to just have, like I say, he's having a wild time out on the map at the moment because he's just kind of doing whatever he wants to do. You know, he is just controlling the game. And the Phoenix will take that away from him. Engineering bay block here early. Slow down the Nexus a little bit. Then we'll go for a Reactor at home. No Reaper. No Marine. And then just going to drop down his CC on the high ground, so he'll get his own command center going in a safe position. Wants to make sure that Classic doesn't have too much of a chance to come across the map and to put on too much pressure. Obviously, he's, with that CC, you're going to be able to just kind of do what you want here as well. You don't have to worry about a bunker low ground. He's actually going to go double Reaper, so he's going to look to put on quite some pressure as well. Reaper's moving down the left and going to find a probe right away. Well, that's nice to get the probe, but it's obviously sad because now you Reapers are scouted, so now you know about this. That means that Classic should be able to get a unit in position to make sure these Reapers do not get too much done. His Adept's not going to stay across the map. It's going to start making its way back home as well. Get it! No, can't get it. Just going to be not finding much at all then. Well, 3 racks behind this, so that's going to be Clem continuing to further aggression here. And with the double tech lab stim, combat shields will be what we line up to play with, of course. Right now, I always think every time Clem plays this double Reaper play, he was playing against Max Backs in a Roddy Wardy Cup, and I casted Roddy Wardy Cup 2. And I was casting with Roddy, Marine Lord, and Mana. And Marine Lord just went on and on about how he hates this double Reaper play because it slows down so much of the 3 racks. It takes away so many units, etc. And it was something that he just said he really didn't like. And he's like, but here I am. I'm the guy in the, out of the tournament casting it. And he's the guy in the finals. So what am I to say? But it sticks with me because it makes sense. If these Reapers don't do much, it does slow your build down a lot for not a lot of gain. Definitely feels like a little bit of a risk you take. Dark Shrine on the way up. I love a Dark Shrine. Again, especially against a, when you're talking about a Dark Shrine against a, 3 racks opening, because there's not going to be a Raven, so you're not going to have that immediately, that kind of immediate line of defense that you would usually expect to have, so that'll be a factor. In fact, I like the Dark Shrine a lot, because it also means you can warp in DTs defensively, and then the question will always be, do you have enough units on the map? Let's find out. Dark Shrine is moments away from finishing. Clem is about to push into the natural. If he has a scan available, this will be big for him because there's no battery here. Oh, he doesn't have stim yet. 10 seconds until stim is done. He's going to go for the Cybercore, put some pressure on. See a gateway chrono boosting from Zaun, from Classic, sorry. Wants to get his, wants to get set up as quickly as possible. As in we go. Now we stim. Honestly, if he targets down the pylons, this could be very good for him. These probes are in some trouble as well as they pull in. Clem sees the Dark Shrine as well. Where is our first DT? Warping in on the other side of the map. So he knows that this attack's been defended now. So he warps one DT in on Clem's side of the map. Clem saw the Dark Shrine. Is he doing anything about it? He didn't start turrets yet. I feel like he didn't recognize that he saw the Dark Shrine, actually. So, possibly STV's here in the main. He does have scan available in this main. You can see the Prism is like, hey, can I save this Dark Templar? Oh, he cannot. He tries for it, though. DT in the natural is going to be a little bit of a problem, but the turret will be done here soon. And Clem is now going to be able to have this defended. So, Clem does a lot of damage, and Classic just doesn't do enough. Yeah, Clem trades out units, but he gets units and he gets probes, so he's equal on workers. He's had a lot of army supply. This is very akin to the game number 1 against Zaun, right? The game number 1 against Zaun, where Clem basically said, okay, cool. You know, you've gone for an attack. I defended that, and now I'm just in control of the game. This is very similar. This time, obviously, Clem attacked, but the difference, the situation is the same, right? Where, well, it's actually not even the same, because in this game, the economies are equal workers. Last time Zaun even had a worker lead, he just didn't have any army. And that's what's the same. The fact that there's just not a lot of army here from Classic, and that should allow Clem to put a lot of pressure on the map, get a lot done. We're going to see DTs coming in as Archons now for the Archon drop stage. That allows you to stay aggressive on this side of the map for longer. Let's see if anything comes out of that. This time this DT does get saved despite the scan. All the units from Classic are basically across the map. Clem is going to come in, look for a cancel on this third base again. He's been playing confidently lately, so he just says usually if he can get a cancel on a third base, he'll go from there. There goes the Prism and the double arc on the Widowmine. Gets the kill. Clem smirks a little bit as he looks as though he's going to get his first map win here against Classic. Fire Army stimming in. Just going to be seeing there's just never a way to defend this, right? We're going to see the batteries get killed off. Classic has a GG, and the DTs just didn't work out, and just didn't have that defense against the first units. Just a Marine at home into a reactor. Factory behind this as well. And if Clem gets the 2-0 here as well, I gotta say, his TVP's been looking right. He looked so good against Trap yesterday, and like I say, just a little bit of altering in TVZ. Mostly on Hardwire. It was the same yesterday against Solo as it was today against Ragnarok. He just couldn't get enough momentum for himself going in the game, and Zerg was able to just kind of make it happen on Hardwire. It does feel like Hardwire seems to be the go-to pick at the moment for the Zergs in ZVT. I'm just going to start off with the Starport this game. The Adept didn't see this, so Starport will get to go down unscouted at the moment, and obviously a couple of Hellions on the way up. As the Adept checks and sees the factory on the reactor, you've got to assume a proxy Starport is one of the possibilities, of course. Classic pulling back is not going to check the corner here for the Starport, though. He is just going to continue all the way back home and just be content with falling back for the moment. Well, couple of Hellions going around the top side. Gateway is still coming through, and just going to be having Classic getting a good little scout up on that factory. A couple more Hellions coming out. It's going to be part of a factor here, as the medevac going to be popping out soon as well. So, just bringing a lot of this into play. The barracks going to jump onto the reactor. The factory moves off over to the side. These Hellions still continuing along, and just going to be waiting for, well, the power of this is usually that the Hellions can be there when the medevac pops. So, in this case, medevac pops out, the Hellions can jump straight in. You can see how well Classic is positioned to deal with this, though. So, Clem is not going to find anything towards the main. In fact, the natural is probably the less defended position. Classic sees this coming in from a mile away, and Clem will unload the Hellions anyway into so many Stalkers. Oh, he didn't get the final shot on that first Hellion, so you still have one kill potential here. Clem's going to lift and boost into the corner, keep the Hellions alive, and keep them as a threat for later. That will be Clem's choice. Well, I don't mind it. 4 probes and your medevac and the Hellions are still alive, and that will keep Classic at home. You have to keep some units back to deal with that, so it does keep Classic pinned a little bit, and that's going to be obviously a fairly strong option, right? I mean, yeah, you're not kind of dealing damage. It's not going to be easy to get this medevac back into play, but you can't just disrespect the medevac completely and disregard it as classic. If you do that, you're asking to take a whole bunch of extra damage. So, not the craziest damage from Clem, but not the worst either. If it was 4 probes and then he lost everything, that would be obviously a much worse situation. Because then Classic would be out on the map right now with these Stalkers, getting his Blink ready done, and then you have no map control at all, and nothing to kind of slow Classic down in the slightest, so... definitely a factor. As you see, a few Marines going to load up into the bunker. Sim combat still on the way through. The factory is going to be coming in with a reactor of its own as Clem settles himself into. It's the next step of the game. Classic just going to keep himself a little bit of vision over here as well. Getting that observer up and obviously keeping an eye on things. He's going to go straight into Storm off the Temple Archives. As he goes straight into Storm, he'll give himself the chance to also move towards a just that little bit of splash damage, which obviously usually goes a long way in these games as well. So expecting that to be a factor here. Obviously, the charge will support nicely too. This Clem will start his first push across the map. Look at the army supply right now, 51 to 25. Classic just now started a bunch of extra gates. This initial push from Clem, well, these Stalkers are going to find a siege tank here, and that's really nice. He jumps straight on it. The medevac gets there to save it, and he will drop it back down now as the other units show up. He will lose a Widow Mine. Oh, that Stalker blinked the wrong way, but okay, Widow Mine for a Stalker, but a heavily hit tank. Hellion drop comes back in. It's going to get cleaned up a couple of probes, so at least getting something out of this. And hey, I mean, if there was more Stalkers on the map, because that Hellion drop hadn't been keeping this back, if you hadn't been able to do that, if this Hellion drop had, you know, been killed off earlier, you probably would have now lost a siege tank. You probably would have lost more than that. So it actually did help because it, like I say, it keeps Classic from having all of his units just out on the map. Definitely a factor as his Stalker gets picked off. We'll move over the left here. Tank is going to siege. That's going to be seen. A pylon already getting picked away at. These Zealots moving through. Actually a Storm on top of that group of bio units. Now the drop in the main is nice because it's actually unpowered the charge upgrades. These Zealots are not going to be as good as they want to be for a little while. Clem is starting to back away and just escape out of here with as much as possible. I'm just starting to get out of there. You see a couple medevacs coming up. Marauders and Marines continuing through as well. As you see, out on the low ground will continue to set up as well. So he's getting his third up. The pressure on Classic side of the map. 9 workers down. Classic didn't take too much damage overall. Slowed down, hindered slightly, but it was a defense. This game is playable, and this game is going to the mid-game, and we'll see what Clem can do as we enter this mid-game. We'll see how this pressure builds. We'll see what he can get done with this. Plus one armor on the way out. Our few High Templar continue out to the left-hand side. We actually do have potential to drop down a Storm also on this army. I was going to say, that's scary, though, because if you fly over there and you lose every single one of your High Templar, I can tell you right now that that's definitely not the way to play this. It's definitely not the way to go. As Storm does come down, Marine Marauder going to take a couple shots. Another Storm coming down. Zealots and Stalkers continuing through. Two of those Zealots continue to get chipped away at, taking quite a bit of damage right now. What can you do here, Classic? Gonna drop another Storm off, just get another few units. Pick away at that, and an armory now down in the main base. Widowmine's coming out, the Ghost production continuing. Plus one armor not far from completing, and just gonna be seeing this army of Classic. Just gonna move up into the center here. Widowmine connects, one Stalker goes down, another Widowmine going off for a few Zealots here as well. Right-hand side, we go charging over. Widowmine blows up a few more Zealots once again. And the supplies are even as Classic's coming across the map to fight. he needs to be really careful. Widow Mines, the Stalker's on blink cooldown, so he can't get away. Widow Mines and Ghosts are going to be a big part of this. He misses a lot of his Storms. The Storms are really not good. This Storm is a lot better, and Clem's going to stand in it. Now he's going to back away as another Storm comes through. Classic coming in. Remember, a win in this map for Classic will win this series for his team. Clem loses his third CC. He didn't lift it up. He didn't try and minimize the damage with the lift, and that means a third CC down. Classic's going to take a great position in this. Alpha X might have found their final map win they need at the last chance before it got a little bit dicey again, before Clem eased the pressure, because now Clem without a third CC is going to be in trouble. Now, he actually does have another base, so it's just going to be, instead of going onto a fourth base, he's just going to be stuck on 3 bases still. That's not so bad. You consider the fact that Classic is in a position where he is, I mean, Classic's up on, what, just now getting his 4th base, so Clem was actually very quick on his 4th. So that's going to be something of a saving grace there for Clem, but obviously I think he feels like that was avoidable, right? You just lift it up, you don't take as much damage. Clem going to see that this 4th of Classic is just now being saturated. That's good info, and it's good news because it is just a handful of probes here, so it's not the craziest of economy that Classic has set up over on that bottom side of the map at the moment. Those do not have that EMP radius upgrade, I think, is what's being pointed out here by the Observer, as we do have the units moving across from Classic. One thing Clem's not been able to do here is to get up any sort of anti-Colossus. He's got a couple of Liberators. That's about it, as they're going to see the Storm dropping down. We're going to kill the Prism off. That one Storm doesn't do too much. Good start of this fight from Clem, but there's going to be more Storms available. But Clem's actually going to find units coming around the left-hand side, so he'll jump on those. A few free pickings. He does all right for himself there. Back into medevac production. I think Clem sees this as a situation where he's just obviously missing medevacs more than anything else. Classic's in a weird place. Clem's basically cutting the corner that Classic is walking around to get towards Classic's base faster than Classic will. Classic needs to be careful right now. This is a situation that can go very wrong very quickly. Because he's had to run the long way around, the High Templar really are trailing as well, so they're quite far away. 6 probes go down. There's a little bit of action on the bottom right base as well in the 4th. So a few probes continuing to drop, and Clem is still in a position here where the worker counts are even. His army supplies in the lead. These probes get more damage done to them. The Widow Mines go off once again. Now 9 workers killed in recent times. Clem has a worker lead in the game. And his 4th base is now morphing into a planetary. So yes, later than planned, as he had to use his 4th as a replacement 3rd this time. But that kind of goes to show just how important it was for Classic to actually get that kill on that base. Because if he hadn't done that, he would have been in a terrible spot. Now he loses the new Prism as well as it flies over a Widow Mine. Observer here should be able to provide the detection needed to clean it up, but nope, doesn't go for it, so he doesn't realize that mine is still there apparently. And he's just going to let that float around, and that's obviously going to be frustrating if you run anything else into it again. Okay, it looks like it gets cleaned up now. Doesn't look like it hit anything, so it does get picked off. I think Clem's scan there. A sees the army, maybe also provides the detection on the Observer so the Widow Mine can shoot at it. Sometimes can obviously be a cute little play. You scan the Observer that's trying to detect the Widow Mine, and then you get rid of the detection, basically. This time, don't think it happened. Another Widow Mine left over here, and that one should be seen by Classic, as Clem has a little bit of a few units over here. He gets the Prism, so a couple High Templar in there go down immediately. More EMPs allow him for a quick kill on the Archon. And Clem takes this little squad of units sitting on the Watchtower, and will turn that into some pretty major pickups. I mean, that's some pretty serious damage dealt right there, as the buy units otherwise back up to the top side. Vikings and Ghosts and everything moving back along. Classic is going to go up to the top. He's going to go blink on top of the planetary. Now, Clem's a little out of position for this one. He has to come in from the other side. But, okay, the Vikings actually going to have a really good spot. How do you hit those Vikings? Well, he's going to try and storm them. As we're going to see continuing forward, these Colossi continue to go down. Storm on the bio units, though. Clem will lose the 4th base. You can see the replacement CC here will be able to come in pretty quickly. Classic loses a lot to make this happen. And that's going to be the major concern. How much he lost there. I mean, he kills 26 SCVs, but Clem's standing army is powerful. Although low HP will need to get some healing here. Otherwise, it really will be in trouble as the probes gonna get hit by those libs. Well, I mean, more probes going down, so Clem is gonna bring the worker count back to being a little bit more even once again. Like I say, that 5th base is now gonna become the 4th, so a lot of command centers becoming replacement bases instead of new bases so far this game. But Classic is still only 4 bases himself. His economy being kept low. I still love Clem's army. There's no Colossi though, so the Vikings are not as good as they might usually be. They could get back in the sky and maybe be used, of course, in the future for potential, you know, warp prism hunting. In fact, they're going back home right now as you can try and dodge disruptors still. Clem still doesn't have enhanced shockwaves that ghost EMP radius increase. I feel like that's a big loss because you're missing a lot of potential damage output with each and every EMP, basically. We're going to get the 2nd and 3rd High Templar before storms go down there. We're going to dive for another disruptor. He split against this one. Clem, you're kidding me. The micro there was pretty sick. Just doing multiple different things in, you know, basically to the rhythm that he needed to dance the dance with Classic. He dodged one disruptor, targeted the other. I mean, that was just absolutely it. Yes, he targeted the Prism as quickly as possible and the Templar quickly too to make sure they went down. I mean, but especially that split and then, I mean, what was it? Target fire, then split. So he targets one disruptor, splits the other, just knows exactly what he needed to do. Clem really has been playing out of his mind with the micro the last day or two. He yesterday was amazing as well. He had some ridiculous moments that made the chat go wild, like right now. Clem survives up 30 supply in the game, and I mean, it looks like Classic's running across to take a fight. Clem scans. The biggest threat here is the disruptors. Well, you can nullify a lot of the disruptor threat by engaging from 2 sides, and that's what Clem will do. First 2 disruptors don't do anything. This disruptor will connect at least, but that's the last disruptor shot. Well, the Prism will have some storms to drop down, but these Stalkers are very much so stuck here. The disruptor dies. Classic loses chunks of his army that are so freaking important. Clem is going to get another 2-0, and really, in the face of adversity in this game, Classic had a lot of moments that went very, very well for him. It just didn't matter. Clem is playing freaking great, guys. Zealot's just going to go charging through. Going to go for the orbital here. I'm just going to go for the Sensor Tower as well. Bioforce, a little bit of trouble. Oh my god, a lot of ghosts going down. Clem, just as we've been talking about his micro, has... Oh no, a complete disaster! All the ghosts die! This game just turned around again? I'm talking about Clem like he's won it already, but that was a completely disastrous few moments. I mean, he's going to get these Stalkers here. He gets one of these Templar. He's going to look for the other one. Actually, he moves deeper into the natural instead of killing it off. He'll move into the main base now. He just lost all of his ghosts, though, and that was expensive as he will kill off the Prism. Disruptors will continue through. We're going to lift up into the medevacs and escape out of the main base. Clem will still maintain a lead in the game, but that was a lot of damage done. It's going to be seen as Bioforce back on the left-hand side. A few Disruptors just walk into the Bio Army, kills 2 of them. Now back into the main. Classic doesn't really have any drop defense is the issue, so he can't reliably clean up these medevacs and stop this engage, stop these plays from continuing to happen. I have no idea what Classic has on the bottom side of the map to defend. Would love to see what his army looks like over there, because it looks like Clem's just going to jump on it. It's just a group of Zealots, so they're going to melt in an instant. Now, this base is... Well, we're going to recall onto the base to try and save it. The Liberators do cover as well. Now the army, though, I mean, you've just forced a recall, so now the army on the left side from Clem is going to go moving through. The Disruptor shots do blow up a couple of Zealots, but they get a lot of other units as well. And this force from Clem will be cleaned out, but he's going to get into the natural where he'll kill the Robo, basically looking to shut down production structures at the moment. I mean, that's what he's been trying to make a play for a while. He's now going to start hunting down pylons. Well, we're so late in the game. Classic has a lot of pylons spare. He'll run units to the bottom right corner of the map as well, as this game stays very scrappy. These Zealots are going to run in, and Classic at the moment will continue to survive. 5th base of Classic going to die. Clem has got a top left base up and running. Is that an orbital that he relocated from the right, or what's the situation with the top left base? And killing that base is big. He's going to catch a Disruptor here again. Clem, he's really doing a good job of taking advantage of his opponent's movements, right? Doing a very good job of that. He's killed 9 Disruptors this game, 20 High Templar. That's been a pretty wild time, to be honest. Just going to see the High Templar still sitting up in that prism here, and we do see Ghost production as well. One more Ghost being brought into play. Clem, to me, is getting back to the army that should clean this out. That is an orbital on the top left. That's what I wanted to check on. Was just wondering what the situation exactly was over there. And there is our answer. Another snipe goes down to clean up a Zealot. Clem is up almost 50 army supply, so with the game slowing down a moment or two, looks like it's gone very well for Clem. And drop that Storm down, try and do something about this. The Disruptor getting going. Another Disruptor shot coming in. We're just going to be seeing these few Disruptors being picked away at, but Ionians have to split away from those Disruptors as well. Just going to be seeing this army continuing through, the Archon taking damage, and just having Clem clearing out a ton of probes on this bottom side base. The 4th of Classic is about to go down. I mean, this wasn't even easy for either player. Let's be realistic here, guys. This was a really, really tough game. Both struggled along. Both really struggled along. Cell goes down. And do you think we've got ourselves a little counterattack coming through? A few SCVs are dropping. This Bio army continues in. We're just going to see the Archon getting picked off. This is going to be enough from Clem. He is going to clean up house. Classic. Hand off the keyboard. He knows it's over. Clem stays alive.